Alright guys, there are some things I've noticed that are not stressed enough when it comes to what you need in survival. Alright, a lot of people don't teach this, it seems, nor teach enough about it for different environments and areas. And I'm going to do my best, based on my experience, to show you one of those issues that I have. Okay, and that's a container. Alright, everyone will tell you, well, you need to bring a container with you. Well, what if you lose it? What if you don't have it? Then what? There are ways to make containers. And I'm going to be doing a few videos on just that. And one thing that I want to do, I've shot a video on this, and that's a bark container. Okay, I showed you that in my Michigan video. I'm going to shoot it again here. Alright, just to show you it can be done wherever it needs to be done. Also, you can make a container out of stone. It's not that hard. Okay? It's actually quite abundant, especially in Tennessee. And the Indians here, which were the Cherokees and the Chickasaws and the Shawnees, they would make a soapstone bowl. Many people from around the world, natives, aboriginals and such, would make soapstone cooking pots and cooking plates to cook with. Okay? And what I want to do is do just that. I see a lot of survival kits out there and I'm like, you're missing something, you're missing a container. Okay, you see the little Altoids tin or whatever they carry, and they don't have a container that'll fit in there. Well, that's true, you're not going to fit your container in there. And I recommend a metal container, by the way, to carry with you. You should always have a metal container because you can boil in it. I don't ever bring a plastic container with me. My metal one weighs like 0.2 ounces more than a plastic one. So I'm carrying a metal one because I know I can boil in it. So, with that said, what can we use as a survival container? What can we put in our pack in case we lose, or even in our pocket, say, in case we lose the container we need? What can we use? Well, I have the solution, and I'm going to shoot that one in this video, and then from there on out we're going to work on other containers, okay? Alright, to kick off my containers series here, we're going to start with something that you would carry with you at all times as a backup container that you could boil water in. Alright, now I gathered a couple items that you would need to get from the forest, and that would be one, a Y branch, like so. Okay, you don't need this little thing here. Piece of vine, something bendable. This is just a piece of that clematis vine. Got some smaller pieces too to tie things up with. And then you need yourself a good layer of tin foil. Okay? That's going to be your container. Alright, this is compact. I can fit it in my little waterproof, I carry a waterproof survival kit that you could call that. And I like waterproof because I keep a lighter in there just in case. I feel that carrying this in a small compact survival kit is your way to carry a container with you. Okay? I showed you can cook with this, and now I'm going to show you how to boil water with it. Alright? So what we need to do is get us all unfolded, see what we have to work with. Okay, and we want to be careful with it because we don't want to go poking holes in it, because then it just becomes useless. Now this here folds out one more time, but I'm going to keep it doubled up like this for extra durability. So what we need to do now is take our piece of vine here, get all the little pieces of vine off it. This is essentially going to become the rim of our container, because we can't make this the same as the fry pan I showed you. Alright, we need to get something that's going to be circular like this, and I don't want it huge. I'm going to get all this stuff off here. It's nice and flammable. bark on here really is. You can see that's nice and green on the inside. Perfect. What I could do is turn all this into cordage. Probably makes pretty good cordage. Okay, so I get all this bundle here off. It's all flammable. I don't want to use that. But I do want to tie this into a circle. Oop, I don't want to break it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just remember, you're just making this to work. So I want it about right there. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I actually feel that this bark here would probably work the best. So I'm just going to whip up some quick cordage here to tie this on with out of this clematis bark. Okay, so I just made a quick piece of cordage. That bark and that clematis vine makes pretty decent cordage, so now you know that. So I want to get this heated up because that one piece broke like you saw. So I'm just going to hold this over the fire a little bit just to get it good and pliable and hot. So I don't want to break my vine. Grapevine would work for this. There's some grapevine around here. I just wanted to try this stuff out. I think she's going to work pretty good. Okay, so we just want to be nice and gentle with it. Okay, so that big stuff just seems to want to break on me. So I'm resorting to a smaller piece. It's going to be a little more pliable. So I'm just going to strip this little guy here. This will work. Okay, now it's not making a perfect circle, but that is just fine. We're not worried about making perfect circles. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply tie an overhand knot on it like so. Okay, that's literally just wrapping around it, tying an overhand knot just to hold it together. And I'm going to take this piece of cordage. Okay, let me just show you what I did. See that knot there? You just go through in between the two, cinch it together. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and I'm just going to wrap it a couple times just so I know it's going to stay together. Okay, and I'm going to bring it through that last little loop there, cinch that down. Okay, this cordage is pretty strong. I'll go through one more time. Cinch it down real good. Okay. And then I know this thing shouldn't come undone on me. Okay, so what I'm left with is this goofy looking piece here. Not quite a circle, but that's alright. That's what we want. So basically what's going to happen is this is going to rest on here like this, and this is going to hold it up. Okay, so now I want to take my tin foil like this and I want to basically start forming the container that's going to rest down inside there. So I want to make sure that I'm folding this up like this. Basically the way to make a container is by folding the corners in like this, just like I did the bark container. Okay, we're just going to fold the corners in, which is going to give us that watertight container where there's not going to be any leaks. Okay, so we're going to do that, bring it in a little ways, fold it over. Okay, we're going to just kind of pull it in until we start getting that circular shape. Now you can see what I did on that corner there. I'm just taking the corners and I'm pinching them in like that, and then I'm just pulling them over like this. And then what that gives you is a watertight container, okay? Same way I did my bark one. So now what we can do, we got our piece here, we can shove this down in there. And we're going to start to fold the top over our vine, okay? We want to try to completely cover our vine too with tin foil so we know it isn't going to burn and fall in the fire on us. And the reason that we have to make this different than our fry pan is about the way the shape of the container is. We don't want something that's wide open like a pan because it's not going to trap as much heat, therefore making it hard to boil water. You'll actually lose most of your water before it even gets hot enough. And that's why we're doing what we're doing here. We're going to make this container more of a shape of a container, which is a circular, more compact, and deeper. Okay, it's not like a fry pan that's not as deep. Okay, and the cool thing is I can cinch that down a little bit. Okay, and I notice I have this little bit of excess here that I actually want to place right underneath where that cordage is. So I'm going to tear just a little piece off there. I'm going to unfold it. You want to make sure anything that can cause this to fall in the fire or ruin, you want to make sure you got that part protected. So I'm going to protect where I have that cordage on there. Okay. Once we get it all wrapped in place, we're going to go get some water to put in it. I just made an emergency container that I can boil water in. I didn't have to go make a bark container, I didn't have to do anything like that. And this fits in your Altoids tin that you carry with you, okay? So when you carry that Altoids tin, you obviously can't fit a big container in there, but you can fit this in there. You just have to do a little bit of work in the woods to make it a container, to make it usable to boil in. Okay, so we're down here at a little creek, and we're going to go ahead and scoop some water up. And we can see that it holds water. Okay? Not losing any water. What you're seeing dripping there is just filling in the cracks and stuff on the side. So now we want to just carefully bring this back, and we want to hold it like this because we don't want it to rip or anything. And that's the key with this type of a container. You gotta be gentle with it, okay? Because tin foil rips real easily. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take this back to our fire and get it boiling. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my Y branch and I want to set it here to where this thing will set in here without falling over. Okay? It's just aiding and holding this thing up for me. And then what I have here is I have a nice chunk of bark that I stripped here, and I'm going to lay that over top of this, and that's going to keep all our water in there, okay? It's not all going to evaporate on us. So what we want to do now is just wait a minute and see if we can't get a boil going. Alright, I've got this thing under some extreme heat right now, and it's holding up pretty good. See those little bubbles popping up? Now, one thing I want to point out for like a bark container or something, say you couldn't get something to a boil, you didn't have enough firewood, or you simply couldn't get it hot enough, if you put it at 160 degrees for a half an hour, that's plenty, okay? That'll disinfect water. And you can tell when it's 160 degrees by little bubbles on the bottom. It's not boiling yet, but it's got bubbles forming on the bottom. Okay, and that'll tell you got it at 160 degrees. So you should feel pretty confident you got safe drinking water when you got little bubbles on the bottom and you let that sit for a half an hour. Okay, just keep that heat up.